Hello, I'm Robert Leach from Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, and you're listening to John Santos, the radio, here on Strong Island Radio, and here is your host, John Santo. Hello, it's John Santo, and welcome to the radio. I have a very special guest co-host this evening, and my special co-host is...
Rich Walker.
Rich Walker. And we have to turn down our phones.
All right.
You know, it's funny. On the radio, they always say, lower your radio at home. And
now I know what it
now
is.
Now it's us.
How many years have we been hearing that, right?
Well, for years, and you'd think that we would get it, right? But that's fine.
So funny.
I am so excited to have you here in the studio.
I am so excited to be here.
This is great.
This marks my 100th radio appearance.
You're kidding.
No, I made that up, but I thought you'd be excited.
I'm very excited.
I
wish it wasn't made up.
All right.
So this really is your 100th radio appearance?
It could be. It's up there.
Nobody's going to know.
Who's going to know?
Who's gonna know?
I did that for you.
So I'm very excited to have you here because a lot of people, I want to introduce you to them. They may not be aware that you are a Long Island comedy legend.
Yes, legend, Long Island royalty.
Royalty.
Yes.
Comedy royalty.
Legend. Okay.
Legend. There are so many words.
I got a funny story about that. You want to hear about Long Island legend? My nephew years ago used to work the salad bar. He used to do the salad bar at Sizzler.
Okay.
Right? And do you know Tommy Duran, the comedian?
Of course, yeah.
Well, he's in there with his dad. And Tommy Duran tells the kid, he strikes up a conversation with my nephew who's working the salad bar. And he goes, my nephew goes, that's funny. You're a comedian. My uncle's a comedian. And Tommy Duran goes, who's your uncle? And he goes, Rich Walker. And Tommy Duran goes, what? Rich Walker? He goes, that's Long Island royalty. He's a legend. And I thought my nephew almost threw up in the salad bar because they never heard anything like that. That's a big ego story, but I love that one. It's funny to me.
So I have an Uncle Richie, my wife's Uncle Richie. He's always telling me these jokes. He goes, hey, I got a joke you can use in your act, right? And he always tells me a joke that's like a Reader's Digest joke from the 50s, right?
Oh, that's funny.
And I'm like, Uncle Richie, I can't use it unless if you wrote it, I can use it. But you have to have written it. It can't be. So this is a joke he tells me I could use in my act.
Yeah, go ahead.
He said, so this man goes into a doctor's office and he goes, Doctor, you have to help me. And he goes, what's wrong with you? He goes, I think I'm a moth. He goes, well, you need a psychiatrist. I'm a cardiologist. Why did you come in here? He said, your light was on. Now, I can't use that in my act.
No, we can't use jokes like that.
Not joke jokes, right? So
street jokes.
So I tell a lot of comics in the green rooms about my Uncle Richie, right? So my Uncle Richie goes to the Mark Breyer shows all the time, right? And he goes, oh, my nephew does comedy, John Santo. He goes, your Uncle Richie? Like he finally met Uncle Richie because he did the library
because he's been hearing about him. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So that was like my funny. Not as good as yours. But
no, it's good.
Yeah, that's a good one, though.
Yeah.
That's a good one with the salad bar at the Sizzler.
Well, you know.
I still remember this.
When you're famous at the salad bar, you know you're doing okay.
Huge. I'll tell you a funny one. I shop at Marshall's a lot. I post about. I love Marshall's, right?
Yeah.
I'm at Marshall's. This woman comes up to me. She had just seen one of my shows. She goes, Mr. Santo, I hate to bother you during your private time. I know how much you must get. Meanwhile, nobody knows who the hell I am, right? She goes, but I just want to say I really enjoyed your show. I said, thank you so much for saying that. It means a lot. I said, but you're really not interrupting me. You caught me you ran into me in the discount sock section of Marshall's. I'm not exactly a star on the pinnacle of greatness.
But you are a regular.
A regular.
So
remember the time we did the comedy festival up in Massachusetts?
Yeah. Oh, was that great?
And that woman recognized us. We're out of the car 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We're looking for the ice cream store with Carrie Carabas.
Right.
Also Long Island royalty.
Yeah.
Comedy royalty. And this woman comes up to her. She goes, "Oh my God, you guys are in the show." First, she saw me first. Because I was sitting in the back, because Carrie had to get the front seat.
That was where we took the pictures out in the street?
In the street.
Yeah.
So she sees me first. She goes, oh, my God, he's in the show that I'm going to. And so is she, and so is he. And I'm like, I've been doing comedy for 30 years. Nobody on Long Island knows who I am. We're 3 hours away, and I get recognized 5 minutes out
in
of
Massachusetts.
The car. Massachusetts.
It's amazing.
That's amazing.
I had my last story of bragging. But I went to, you didn't go to John Butera's party?
Did you know that? I saw you there. That's what I told you. I wanted to have you on the show tonight. Yes, I was there by the pinball machine with Tom. I'm gonna have Tom on the show too.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We had the whole conversation.
We had a
but
conversation.
I apologize.
You were a
but
little.
I was just, I had so many people that were,
There were a lot of
over
people
me.
there.
They wanted to meet me, and
Yep.
I had to give everybody a turn. So anyway, we're outside, and I'm standing with Tony Melendez. I thought he was going to spit his soda across the street. But do you know the Michelle McDonald? Michelle,
comedian. Yes.
Well, she says to me, she goes, were you at the Babylon Burger like 2 months ago? And I said, I was. She goes, were you with your family, right? I said, yeah. She goes, I didn't want to disturb you. And I told my boyfriend, I said, that's Rich Walker, the comedian. And she goes, I want to say hello, but I don't want to disturb him with his family. And my boyfriend said, you can't go over to a celebrity unless you're sure it's them. And Tony was a witness, and it's just so funny to hear.
Well, some people might think that we're bigger than we are.
You know what it is? They're mixing up legend with longevity.
With longevity, right?
If you're around a long time, people perceive you. Oh my God, like the younger comics, I guess. But
now I was on a cruise out of Brooklyn on Norwegian Cruise Lines.
Oh,
and I'm
great story!
I'm watching Manhattan disappear
Yes.
in the because I wanted to see it get smaller as the ship pulled away, right? And then
I bet some idiot pulled you away and you missed it.
Well, no, my wife and my family, they just left because it was getting a little cold out on the day. It was an April cruise at night, 10 o'clock at night we pulled out, right? And I turn around and I'm walking back into the door to go into the restaurant, the buffet area.
Yeah,
and
of course you.
And then back to no, there was no food out. Back to the room.
Yeah.
I was on like the fantail on the 12th deck, and I see Rich Walker. So I'm like, holy shit, you're the comedian on the cruise.
Right.
But you weren't the comedian on the cruise.
No, I was a guest.
You were a guest. So
go
this
ahead.
is the funny thing. I'd worked with you guys, with you and Steve, the Saturday before. This was the Thursday departure. Saturday before, and I told Steve, because Steve's like, oh, I might want to book you for Pennsylvania. I said, Steve, I'm going on a cruise from Thursday to next Sunday. So if I don't respond right away, I'm not ignoring you. I'm not using the phone that much on the ship. So he doesn't think anything of it, and I'm like, well, you think he would have said, well, Rich is going on a cruise.
He didn't put two and two together.
He didn't put it together.
But you don't really.
You don't really, I guess. But I'm like, I'm leaving Thursday.
But you're going, oh my God, Rich is the comedian on the boat.
I thought you were the comic on the ship.
Right.
I didn't know who you were with.
Now, but I said, now looking at you, I'm like, oh my God, John Santo got a big gig on a cruise ship. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like so jealous. And then you told me, no, I'm with my family. I'm like, oh, thank God.
But Carl was great. I met Carl.
Carl Guerra.
Carl Guerra. Phenomenal.
Great
and he
guy.
did something very nice at the end of the cruise.
What did he do?
When we were sitting in the theater, we were in the front row, you and I.
Yes, I remember.
On the adult show at the end of the
Yes.
cruise, or near the end of his part of the cruise.
Yeah, it was the Thursday night late show.
Thursday night late show. And he had asked us, we had dinner with him a couple of times at the bar. And we were, talking about comedy material and everything. And he said, I did some new jokes and these two
we helped him
me.
with a couple of jokes, yeah.
And that was so nice of him to acknowledge us.
In like 2,800 seat room.
Right.
And we're waving to
waving
everybody
from the
from the
bottom
audience.
row, yeah.
Everybody's applauding us.
That was so nice of him.
It was great.
He's been on some cool cruises. I follow him on Facebook.
He's
he goes on some
around.
cool cruises. Yeah.
That's
a tough gig.
On Thursday, that Thursday afternoon, before he mentioned us, I was sitting having lunch with my son. It was just us in the back of the boat, where we met.
Where we met, that deck on the buffet area. Yeah.
And I said, hey, Carl, what's up? He goes, hey, Rich, how's it going? He talks like this, Yeah. And he goes, you mind if I join you? I'm like, yeah, sure. He goes, I have to rewrite my material. I have to make it clean, dirty for tonight. I'm not a dirty comic. So we sat down, and he put his index cards all over the table.
Oh, that's great.
And that's where I sat for the next 2.5 hours on my cruise. My vacation, helping him.
Well, I didn't spend that much time with him. I spent a few minutes. We were talking.
Yeah, no, but
we were talking in that O'Shaughnessy's.
Oh, that was great.
O'Shaughnessy, the Irish pub place.
I love that. 24 hours a day.
Yeah, 24 hours a day. And it was so you guys had ordered. I just ordered a drink. You guys had ordered a couple of chicken wings, and
Well, it was included.
well, it was included.
I
But
think
then,
that-
but then it became 5 after midnight, and now it's Good Friday. Now I can't have meat, so I could have had the chicken 5 minutes before, but I couldn't have it because it was midnight.
But
I
unless
can't eat meat
we're
on
in,
Friday.
yeah, but if we're in international waters, nobody would have ever known.
Nobody would have known. Well,
No, not even the man upstairs.
Not
He don't
even-
go into international
he
waters.
doesn't go because that's like a different territory.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I didn't want to chance it. I didn't know that rule at the time.
Yeah, always remember when you're out to sea or in Vegas.
Or in Vegas, anything
Those
goes.
two- yeah.
That
Whatever
was an
happens in
amazing
Vegas
coincidence. Like, what
stays
is
in
the
Vegas.
coincidence? Now, the prior Norwegian cruise I was on 3 years before,
Yeah.
Corey Kahaney was the comedian on the cruise.
Wow.
I had taken her
She's
class.
great.
Fantastic. My kids
Fantastic.
loved her.
Yeah.
They went to the show and they keep saying, "Why can't you be more like your sister Shishumba?" You know, they loved that part of the act. My kids were at that time. My son was 8 and my daughter was 11. So they got a kick. They got a kick out of that. That was a cool cruise.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
She's
was
really
fun.
good.
She's fantastic.
Dynamite.
And my mother-in-law. So I always forget to watch the Welcome Aboard show.
Great.
But my mother-in-law had seen it, and she goes, "Oh yeah, maybe you know the comic." She did, and she started telling me the jokes. I'm like, "That's Corey Kahaney," because I know the act. You know, I know her act. So-
Yeah.
And then I ran into her in the hallway.
I never miss a show on a cruise because you never know what you're going to walk into.
I never remember to
They
look
play-
for the Welcome Aboard
8 o'clock.
show.
It's either 8 or 10.
Right.
On every cruise.
Well, I'm
that's
going
ever-
another one. I'm going to make sure I go on to the show.
I'm still paying for the last cruise.
Are you really?
Oh. Well, we went on two, and in all fairness, we went on 2 vacations after. We were in Colorado
Right.
for a wedding, and then we went to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee,
Oh, right. Yes.
for Dollywood and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So it was too much for us. But
Do you like cruises in general? Do you
love
like
them? Love. I could spend the rest of my life on a cruise ship.
Really?
I don't even like going to the islands. I don't even like getting off the boat. I hate it. It's so. What did he call them? The natives or whatever. They're like, lady, mister, lady, mister, come here. And I can't take all the sales pitches for the braided hair.
Well, Nassau was like that.
The Bahamas is horrible.
Horrible for that. The private island I liked because that was just beach. You went to
Oh
the
yeah,
beach
yeah.
and we
Well,
were hanging out.
I just saw the commercial for Royal Caribbean's Island.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what is it? Coke.
That's the island right
Castaway
next to
Cay?
It was next to the one we were on.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
It's got a whole water park on
whole
it.
water park. We saw it from ours. I'm like, oh wow, that's nice.
They shouldn't let us see that.
They should
from our
have
boat.
like a big.
Now you never did a
bar-
Disney cruise, right?
No, you would tell me about a Disney cruise.
Well, it was funny. We were going to go on the Carnival ship, and then I knew next door to the Carnival ship, the Disney ship was parked or docked,
right.
and with the big mouse ears. I know once we got on the Carnival ship, my kids would be going, "How come we're not on that ship?"
Yeah.
So we ended up. It was not a lot of money. It was only about 500 more a person to go on it.
Right.
And it was also a 10-day cruise back then.
Right.
It was great.
The one that was next to our in Cape Canaveral when we were parked there.
Yeah.
Port Canaveral. The ship had like this water slide that went out over the edge of the ship.
That's the viaduct or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Crazy.
It's like in a tube roller coaster almost.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
cool stuff.
Yeah. They have a lot of tricks. Like as soon as you get on, when they go, it'll be, ladies and gentlemen, the Santo family, and the
right.
bugles blow, and you go into like the lobby, like it's like you're coming into like Cinderella's
Right,
ball.
right.
But they never missed a trick. The whole
That's
ship.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, they do a good job. The Disney cruise.
I would
the
go on it
Disney
again if it wasn't so expensive. It's so expensive now.
Yeah, it's got to be bucks now. Yeah, everybody's doing it.
I hear
I
it's
did
like
like
10
sailing
grand.
out of New York though. That was kind of cool because
Yeah.
we just loaded up the car with luggage, drove to Brooklyn, and that was it. We're on
Yeah.
the boat. Away we go.
I heard a little trick, if you want to know, in the last cruise, because that was like a 10-day cruise too, the Norwegian,
Yeah.
right? And the reason why is because like the other cruise lines split that week off. What was it, Easter week?
Easter week, yeah.
So they split it in 2, and they made 2 7-day cruises.
Oh.
But Norwegian said, you know what, let's just make one
One
cruise
10-day, yeah.
and one for 10. But I was talking to a couple of people on that board, only paid like $500-600 because they
people-
went the day before.
The last minute, yeah.
I'm
fill the
doing it
boat.
next cruise. I'm going last minute.
There was a woman on the boat that we took to the private island, like
Yeah.
when we were all sitting there, and she said that she goes on like 4 or 5 a year with her husband. They're
She goes
retired,
last minute.
and she always books last minute. She goes, all I could get was an inside cabin, but they paid they paid like 10% of what we paid, and
Yeah.
and they went and they said that they had to fill it. I guess they have these panic sales. So I used to be in revenue management in the travel industry, and it was in car rentals. But we have these panic sales. If we're getting to the event and we don't have enough sales, then we panic sale to try to fill the rest
Yeah.
with whatever you can get.
You want to do something interesting when you're booking the cruise on. This became Cruise Talk with John and Rich,
Yes, it did.
but
We'll have to wrap up this segment.
we're wrapping that up. But if you go in when you're booking the cruise, you know how you pick the room, it's blinking like that one's available. I notice a few times. Watch when you're doing that. A whole floor will be not available. So guaranteed, they're not. That's the empty rooms,
I
and they're
see.
going to fill up all the other floors
Right.
until they
fill.
they need it.
And then they open that floor up.
That's right.
Because why have one person that might not be profitable to even open that
What
floor,
if only
the
4
deck?
people on that whole
Yeah.
floor, right?
Yeah.
So they leave it.
I forgot to ask Carl, did he have a normal cabin like on his? Do you get a normal cabin on the cruise?
Well, you know the deal how that works, right?
No.
For anybody out there that's interested, if you're an act on the boat, you could have 2 statuses. One is passenger status, where you get staff status. If it's staff status, you stay on that floor, whatever it's like the 4th floor, like down below.
Yeah, you're under the water line at that
Right,
point.
and you got to stay in there. They don't want you mingling with the passengers. But then if you go and everything's free, everything, right? But now if you go on passenger status, you have to pay your tips, and tax. So like Carl Guerra, if he was in a regular room,
Right, regular cabin.
he would have to pay the tips and the tax for the room.
Now, when I was on,
They give you the room.
not the ship I was on, but the one we were on, but the one before that, the magician and his wife were on our floor.
Yeah.
And they had a regular cabin like we had. They
Yeah,
were like,
so they have
were like
passenger status.
30, 40 rooms away
And they're
from
also
us.
allowed to leave whenever they want and mingle and talk to people and stuff.
Right.
But not if you're staff.
But
They
if
don't
you're
want you-
staff, you got to stay on the 4th deck?
Right.
What
They
do you?
don't-
What the hell's on the 4th deck?
Well, when was the last time you saw any of the staff walking around on that ship?
Yeah, but you mean I'm like a prisoner on that deck?
Well, it's not really a prisoner. They have a lounge and they have the kitchen and they have coffee.
Oh, so they
24
have
hours a
like an
day.
area that's
Yeah, I'm sure it's not elaborate. It's probably gray, like
and you can't ever
like the USS something. It's
you can't ever see the passengers.
I don't
You
think
can't-
you're supposed to be out there because you're not paying for the cruise. You're not paying tax and you're not paying gratuities and stuff.
So
like that.
that's interesting. We'll have to talk more about that offline. I'm curious
Yeah.
about that.
Well,
A lot of
there's
pe- a lot of
your
people
cruise
ask me-
minute with Rich,
with Rich
and John. Santo and Walker cruise minute.
So we got to talk about this Gwyneth Paltrow thing, and I'm going to
Yes.
have Mike Francesa. You don't listen to sports radio, but Mike Francesa
I wouldn't know one sports celebrity if it wasn't for Dancing with the Stars.
is going to talk about the comedy business as if it were a sport.
Oh, great.
And why it's okay to joke
Oh, I
about
wanna
certain
hear that.
things. Mike, are you there?
Bring him in.
I'm certainly here. It's great to be on the radio show with Rich Walker. Now, Gwyneth Paltrow, okay, she had a line of candles that are vagina-scented candles. Now, I saw that John Santo and some other comedians had done jokes about them on Facebook. And some people were offended. There was some blowback. There was. But Rich, as one of the comedy professors, you run Stand Up University. Now, Rich Walker is arguably one of the most sought-after authorities on the subject of comedy. Hands down. He's phenomenal.
Wow.
Phenomenal. Would you say that it would almost be like malpractice to not do a joke about if anybody who doesn't do a joke or doesn't expect a joke, if you're in the audience, if you don't expect a joke about Gwyneth Paltrow doing a vagina-scented candle, I think you're a fool. What do you think?
Well, I think that you're going to hear a lot of comedians, Mike, do material on it, especially in a comedy club. And if the comedy club does have candles on the table, I mean, just think of what the aroma would be.
Oh, my God, that would be hilarious.
It beats any smell that would come out of a comedy club.
Totally.
It would be beautiful. And not give that sexy kind of atmosphere. I just have a question. Are the candles, are they Gwyneth Paltrow scented?
That we don't know. That was not part of the story. I would love to be able to answer you. I honestly don't know.
We don't know yet.
We don't know yet, but we're
But
going
are
to find
there
out.
other celebrities involved? Like, wouldn't you like, do they have Scarlett Johansson candles?
I can't answer
Those
that
would probably
question.
sell.
That would be
quickly.
interesting, very quickly. We actually have a caller.
Oh.
Freddie in Freeport. What's up, Freddie? Yeah, Mike, I don't understand that these people, they get offended by everything. It's like, I mean, how could you not do a joke about a vagina candle? Freddie, I agree with you.
Yeah,
Rich,
why not? Absolutely,
right?
go for
Is
it.
Freddie-
Right? It's probably short-lived,
Probably has a limited window.
Right, it'll blow over quick.
It'll blow. It'll blow over quickly. But okay, we have another caller, Bobby in Babylon. What's up, Bobby? Yeah, Mike. Yeah, how you doing? Yeah, this whole thing. I agree. It's a stupid premise. Nobody should be joking about that kind of stuff, Mike. All right, thank you, Bobby. But you're
It's blue. It's
You're,
a
you're
little
a fool. You're a fool, Bobby. I mean, it doesn't have to be done raunchy. It could be done very
Tastefully.
tastefully. Now, some of the comedians, of which I'm friends with, I don't want to say their names, did them very raunchy, but hilarious, because it's a hilarious premise. Others, like John Santo, did a little less
Terrific.
edgy. A little less edgy, but not as funny.
Well, what was
the
John
raunchy ones were the
Santos
funniest.
again? Tell the audience what John
So
Santos.
John Santos was Elton John should do a Gwyneth Paltrow version of Candle in the Wind. So that was like a
Not bad.
Not bad.
That's pretty good.
The other one I did was a little more. He did was a little more raunchy. It was Gwyneth Paltrow was selling a candle, a vagina scented candle. I was going to do a penis shaped candle that'll be huge and last a long time. Mine was rudimentary compared to some of the ones. Mike Egan did a phenomenal one. Very raunchy.
What was his?
But way funnier.
Right.
I prefer not to say it on the air because it was raunchy.
You could say.
I could say it. It was
in a
in a Starkist container.
in a can.
One can, right? Starkist can.
Well, you see,
A little raunchy, but the funniest.
I would do that same kind of joke. I just don't want to get banned from any theaters.
And I don't want to get banned from the supermarket.
Well,
That's
the
what I thought.
supermarket.
And I wrote him a note. I said this was hysterical, way better than mine. I even said I'm not afraid to
You
say.
mean John Santos?
I mean John Santos. Thank you. Sometimes anybody can get caught up in a character.
That's
but
right.
yes, I told him. I said I'm not afraid to admit if somebody's joke is
Oh, wait,
better.
John's back.
Sometimes I don't even know who I am myself. Well, thank you very much, Mike Francesa. Wasn't he great, Mike
was
Francesa?
great.
He kept going in and out of the space.
Well, you kept talking over him.
You should listen to him more. He's not on the air that much, but he does that kind of.
He once
show.
mentioned me.
Did he really?
Yeah, on the air when he was reading through the Long Island Entertainment Magazine, reading the winners of the.
Oh, the Best of Long Island
yeah.
contest?
Did you win this year?
Nah, I didn't win this year.
Who won Best Impressionist on Long Island?
Louise, a share impressionist. Did you see the commercial I did for that? I did a commercial that was like a political commercial.
Yeah.
And I did it like, I had like two different kinds of music. I had like some very serious music, right? And
Right.
like, some impressionists only do one impression. And then I did like,
See, she's not an impression; she's an impersonator.
person, right? So
There's a big
But I wasn't
difference.
talking about how it was just in general. So then I said, I had like happy music. I'm like, John Santo does over 50 voices. And I'm like, some impressionists charge hundreds of dollars for their shows. John Santo hasn't raised ticket prices in over 10 years. Like I did it
Right.
like a political ad.
And most of them are free.
Mo-
I'm only kidding. I'm teasing.
No, this is
I love
fun.
John
This is a lot of
Santo.
fun. But I did it like a political. But I don't even vote for myself in those things. They're tough to win.
Well, I did my first 2 years when I
Yes.
did it.
Well, before they
and
asked for
I
an
was
email
up every
address.
night until 2 in the morning,
Right.
voting every day.
I was going to the Best Buy and voting on every computer to get a different IP address.
Oh, that's a great
idea.
idea.
But then now they ask you for a stupid email. I got to create all these fictitious accounts.
I have a friend that works for like the Nassau and Suffolk County Library
Right.
Librarian
Oh.
Association. So I made that the sign on into the computer. You had to vote for me to use their computers, and So that's how I think I won. I'm not sure.
Well, I called Putin, and I said,
Well,
"Can you
there-
help me with this election?" You know,
Well, but how did you not win?
he never called me back.
That's terrible. It's
He never
terrible.
it's terrible. But I should have demanded a recount. I almost did my Al Gore and just demanded a recount.
You know what? You want to know how to win it next year?
How?
Take out the ad for $100 in their paper.
And
You'll
the paper,
win it.
you'll win it. Yeah. Well, the first time I won it, it's a little bit. I felt a little bit scamdished
Because
because
they sell you the banners.
they
and
sell
stuff.
you your
We
own
shouldn't
award. I
really-
thought I was going to go up in front of a thing. I'm sitting with Long Island's best aluminum siding company. I'm not even with other entertainment people. And a lot of comedians have teased about it over the years.
Yeah. Well, anybody that hasn't won it, they tease you.
No, even people that have won it.
Oh, really?
Like it's
Frank Prince won it, and he's dead.
he's dead. So somebody said if Frank was alive, he'd want you to win. I'm like, no, if Frank was alive, he'd want to win.
That's right.
Rest in peace, my friend Frank
Poor
Prince.
Frank Prince.
Poor Frank. He was great. He did a great Don Rickles. He
Yes.
really did. I wish we could have done the roasts. Like
You know,
Don
Peter Bales
Rickles.
once said to him, I'm sorry, Peter Bales
No, no.
once said to Frank Prince that you look like Mussolini. And Frank Prince said, who's Mussolini?
Now, he's a great roaster, Peter Bales.
Oh, great roast.
He did a roast. I was blown away by the roast. I didn't even want to go up and do mine now.
Who was the?
I had to follow
Who
Peter
was he
Bales.
roasting?
LaRocchia. John LaRocchia.
Oh, I wasn't invited to that.
You were invited. Everybody got invited.
No,
it
I
was an
didn't.
open invitation. It was like everybody.
Why
on
didn't I
Face-
know about that? I would have been there.
It was everywhere on Facebook. You know what's funny? Sometimes I see things like a
I got
week
to
after
stop
they're
on
posted.
following everybody.
That's the thing.
I got to stay in. Well,
But
I can't be at all of them.
The book face algorithm is all. Man, I'm not seeing stuff from people.
Did you ever go to Manny's roast? Do you at Manny?
No.
All right. There was Pat Marone was the MC,
MC,
master of ceremonies, and my joke was with Pat Marone. You know, he's a chef in a assisted living or nursing home. He's
Yeah.
a chef. And then my joke was, Pat Marone's here, and I I'll never forget when he invited me to perform at his nursing home, and I walked in the front door, and I was hit with the waft of poop, right? Because I don't know what we could say on the radio here.
Yeah.
But I was hit with this stench of poop. But then I was relieved to remember that it was just lunchtime.
I wish we had the Clemson LSU score.
Oh, yeah, the Clemson.
So I bet $100,000 on the Tigers
Oh,
because both teams are named the Tigers. There's the LSU Tigers, Clemson Tigers. So I'm wearing a Clemson Tigers hat right
I
now.
see that.
Because my son, when he was 3 years old, they have a paw as their logo. You can see the paw.
I
there.
see it. I
You
like
see
it, yeah.
People on radio can't see it, but they all know the Clemson paw.
I know the Clover. The Clemson,
Clover
yeah.
is I don't know what that is.
Okay, it's a song, Clemson. and
Oh,
Clover.
Clemson and
Is
Clover.
it Crimson and Clover?
Oh, right. Oh, Clemson, something like that. But my son, when he was 3 years old,
Crimson.
Crimson and Clover. The frick! You got to be accurate.
I
on
gotta
it. No,
get
I'm
a
kidding.
poor hat.
Paw hat. And my son was like 3-4 years old. He was watching the game on ESPN, and he's like, the paw. He thought it was a dog paw. So ever since then, he's 12 now, but ever since then, he's been a Clemson fan. So I got these at Lids. They were having like a $5 hat special.
Right.
So my son and I have matching hats.
That's nice.
So
Now, what
I
is
got
it the
him a
paw
jersey.
of?
Tiger.
A tiger.
Tiger paw,
Tiger.
yeah. Tiger paw. But they won the championship last year. I don't know what they're doing this year because I can't get to my phone. We're on the air. But if somebody could post the score
Yeah.
on my comments
If
on the
someone could
radio
Google
show,
that for us.
they could goggle it and tell us what the score is.
Crimson and Clover.
So we have millions of listeners at any one time.
Right.
I'm sure somebody will come in there. So 2020, Rich, we're in 2020.
Can you believe it already?
Already we're in 2020, and what's the 30th anniversary of?
What?
Total Recall, Arnold Schwarzenegger movie,
Oh,
and Kindergarten
my
Cop.
God. Whoa. Great movie.
Fantastic movies. They were the best of the movies.
Now, what does this mean, send a wave? Are these people that are listening?
These are people that are listening to us right now.
You're kidding.
No. They're all listening, and
Look at this.
yep, here they are. They're all, look at that. A lot of people.
So I could send waves back.
send waves back. Say hello, hello, hello.
Hello, 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 hello.
Hello, hello. Those are also great movies, the Austin Powers movies. We were talking before about Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah.
Where are they now? And the only one that really became a big star, the biggest I think was Sean Penn, Mr. Spicoli,
Yeah.
and then Judge Reinhold.
You know, he bombed his first audition.
Tell me, tell me. We talked about that before the
Well,
show.
I
Tell
think
me
he
about-
was brought in by the director of it, and he said, "I got this kid that is out of this world." And they brought him in. He bombed his audition. It was so bad, he literally left with his tail between his legs. And then he said to the producer, "We got to give him another shot, please. Let's bring him in." And they brought him back, and that's when he came back as Jeff Spicoli, and he wowed them, and he got that part. See how interesting I am?
Extremely interesting. The behind-the-scenes show business is a fascinating topic for a lot of people. You know, like what happens behind the scenes. A lot of people don't know that. So I have become lately, my Donald Trump impression has become a cornerstone of my act. And a lot of people don't know that if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing Donald Trump today, probably.
We had a good time.
We had a good time
We were
on
driving
the road.
up to Windsor Locks, Connecticut.
Windsor Locks, Connecticut. We had a road gig. And you had asked me, "Are you doing Donald Trump?" And I said, "You know what, Rich? I don't think he's going to. He's definitely not going to be the nomination. I don't work on a new president until after the convention."
Right.
And I'm like, "There's no way he's
There's
getting the
no way.
nomination. And even if he does, there's no way he's going to win." So I was like really hoping for Bernie Sanders because that was a voice I could do, or Bloomberg. I like to do somebody I already can do. Right. So that's why I don't like to. So we were talking and then we started working on it in the car, and I got it to a point where it was so. We called Carrie Carabas, Eric Haft, and Steve Lazarus on the phone
as
Trump, and they said it was good and try it. And we did it in the show, and then I ended up doing it so well that. And getting it, as a cornerstone of my act, that Newsday did a whole documentary on it.
Have you been working on anybody else, the contenders right now? What about Pete Buttigieg?
Buttigieg.
How does he sound? Do you even? I couldn't even pick out his voice.
The nominee really has to be either Bloomberg.
Well, you do great, Bernie Sanders. Tell it.
First of all, I agree that we need to have change in this country. So I don't care who wins, as long as I can do the voice.
Do the voice, right?
Right. So you saw The American President with Michael Douglas, right?
Yes, of
I wish I
course.
could do Michael Douglas. He's like, John Santo doesn't care anything about you. He only cares about two things. Can he do the voice and will you laugh at it? That was like his famous speech and that. But Bloomberg, I think, has a big shot.
Do you think he has a shot?
He's spending so much money.
What about the other guy spending money? Steiger. What's his name?
Oh, Andrew Yang.
No, the billionaire. Stiver?
Where does he get Yang from Star?
I said Stiver, and you go, yeah, Yang.
Buttigieg. I love the way he says Buttigieg.
Whatever it is, we'll work on it on another trip
We'll
to
work
Connecticut.
on it. But I think it's going to be Bernie. I really do. Bernie or Bloomberg. You think Buttigieg
So you think
has
that
a shot?
the country wants to go with money?
But you know what, though? The only reason I'm not going to rule Buttigieg out is because in 92,
Obama.
no, Clinton. I said, where the hell did this guy come from? I thought it was going to be Benson or the other guy. Who is this little southern governor from Arkansas? He's not going to make it.
Yeah.
Oh, what
Well, he had a lot of charisma. A lot of people.
I agree. And let me
he
tell
had
you
a lot of
something.
charisma.
I'll wop the clock.
I just
Bush.
met him in Deer Park
I
Laundromat.
saw that, the laundromat. Rich,
Yeah.
it was great to meet you in Deer Park at the laundromat. I love laundromats. Now, I just wish a certain somebody had cleaned a certain blue dress. That would have been great.
I bet he would have even treated to the cleaning.
I would have paid for it because that would have avoided a lot of stuff. But you were great at the laundromat, and that wasn't far from where you live, right? That's right near the outlets.
Right up my block.
Right up the block.
I was at 5 o'clock or 5:30. I'm sitting on the chair, in my living room, and my daughter goes, he's up at the laundromat up the block. I go, you know what? I'm going. What's the chance? So I'll wait online or whatever. And I'm not kidding you. I drive up. I pull right into the parking lot of the laundromat. I pull right into a spot. I go in. There's only about 70 people in there. And they said, yeah, he's not here yet. He's an hour late. He got stuck in traffic or whatever. But he was probably stuck at the last laundromat or whatever because he likes to talk to everybody. He's very personable. And here he comes. He just walks in. There was no fanfare, nothing. They didn't even have a microphone for the guy.
Right,
If I knew that, I would have set up a whole PA for him today. He was making a speech, but nobody could hear him,
Yeah, I remember.
But it was pretty cool.
Yeah, there
You
should have been a
remember,
microphone.
right?
I do. I'll tell you when I met John Santo. John Santo came to the White House. Now, he's an advisor to like 8 U.S. presidents because nobody knows the powers of the presidency more than a guy that does the presidency.
Right.
So I called him up during the whole impeachment, and I said, John, how do I get out of this? And he gave me some good advice, and we didn't take it, and I regret it to this day. He said, because remember I said I did not have sex with that woman, Miss Lewinsky?
Right.
He said to me, say that you thought you said Mrs. Lewinsky, her mom, and then that would have put reasonable doubt into what you originally said, and there would have been no impeachment because they couldn't have said I was what's that word? I don't like that word. When you're under oath, the testimony, perjury. The perjury
yes.
would have gone away because Mrs. Lewinsky was her mom. They all thought it was Monica Lewinsky. I was referring to mom.
Right.
And I didn't think it was.
You didn't clarify.
I didn't think it was that strong of a case. I said, John, that's tricky. It's clever, but it's not strong enough. So I said, definition of the word is, and I regret it. I should have listened to John Santo back then. He gave me the good advice, and I regret not taking that advice.
That's amazing. That's a fantastic
Isn't that a
story,
fantastic story?
Bill? Well, I voted for you twice, Bill.
Thank you.
Can I say one thing about your impression just now?
Which impression?
John
I don't do
Santos'
impressions. I do
impersonation.
I do impersonations.
You should go on tour, just to beat the woman who did Cher as Bill Clinton.
I like
you
the
go
woman
over
that
to
did Cher.
Sergio's, the
She's
restaurant.
good. I thought she's a
and
nice
you do
lady.
the Bill Clinton show, and you just do him, And maybe you could sing some of the hits, play a little saxophone. What do you think?
What song would Bill Clinton sing? What would be a good Bill Clinton song to sing?
What's a nice one? What's the one?
Love on the Rocks. Ain't no big surprise.
You could do that one. Yes.
What's another good one?
Twinkle Twinkle.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder where you are.
That's very good.
That's good.
You know what else I noticed? Your lips, you move like his lips.
I do.
Do you study the mouth movements?
The mouth movements, very specific.
Right.
And the thumbs up, very specific.
Did he ever give the thumbs up, or he does that thing
like
where
this,
they
like
hold
this.
the thumb in their hand?
No, he goes like this. He
Right.
used to go.
Right, thumbs up, full thumbs up.
Full thumbs up. I did a great job. I thought I was for good president of the United States.
I thought you were a great president.
The Dow Jones was like 3,000. I put it all the way up into the stratosphere. And I did a good job. I ran against Bob Dole in 96. And my message was this. I am a young, smart, intelligent man, and Bob Dole is one crabby old son of a bitch. And it worked.
Who ran against Mike Dukakis? Just Jimmy? No, he came after Jimmy Carter, right?
Well, I am good friends with Bill Clinton, but he beat me in 92. I won in 88, beat Dukakis. That was easy. Dukakis terrible. Bush good. Dukakis bad. And we won. We did very well. But Bill cleaned the clock, did very well, vibrant young guy. But we became friends afterwards because nobody knows about the pressure of being president than a president.
That's George H.
George H.W.
Now
Bush.
do George W.
Yeah, so then I came back in 2000, and when Clinton was leaving,
Yeah.
and then I won the race out of Texas, and that was a tough race. That race was close. It all came down to Florida, and that was tough. We had a couple of recounts.
And that was against
That was against Al
Al.
Gore, and then in 2004 I ran against John Kerry. And I won that one.
It's great.
That was a tough race. Tough race. It's tough
yeah.
running for president of the United States.
It is.
It's a tough race, and it's hard. It's hard work, and
A lot of thinking, right?
a lot of thinking.
You have to really put a lot of thought process.
A lot of
Now,
thought.
Is it true, George, Mr. President,
Yeah, you can call me George.
that you had a lot of your prayers answered in the Rose Garden when you used to walk around and you made big decisions?
big decisions
In the Rose
in the
Garden.
Rose Garden, just outside the Oval.
Right.
And but I tell you something though, when you become president of the United States, the first thing you do is you sit down with John Santo before the inaugural,
and he goes over how he's going to impersonate you, and that's the best part of being president.
Almost like Madame Tussauds.
It's like a
they're
Madame-
molding
yeah.
the head. You have to be there.
You sit for a presidential portrait,
Right.
which they hang in the White House. They do two portraits. A lot of people don't know this. They do one when you come in, and they do one when you're leaving.
Right.
And before that,
To show the before and after
before and
the
after,
aging
and the aging
process.
process. And this job ages you. Look at Barack Obama.
Yeah, gray hair.
When he came in, and he'll come on in a second, but it's graying, and then but you sit with John, and that's great because you get to meet him. He's a presidential legend. We all
Right.
love John,
Yeah.
and that's great.
And Winter, best Long Island
Winner, best impressionist.
on Long Island, right?
Yeah.
He
Disappointing he didn't win this year, but that's okay.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No, he won it once. Hey, it's just like the Doors when they won the Ed Sullivan show.
Same thing.
You know,
Once you're on, you're always on.
he
It's
said,
on the
"Oh,
YouTubes,
honor." Yeah,
on the internets.
exactly.
Well, I do remember sitting with John when I came into the office.
Look who just walked in.
There's a lot of
Barack
celebrities.
Obama's
A lot of
here.
celebrities here. A lot of we're always on John's show. I remember sitting with John, and
Right.
I was tough to do. And he said, "Look, no disrespect, Mr. President, but it's easier for me to do John McCain." And I said, "Well, he wasn't. You got to work with me." And Michelle and I sat down, and
She's a great gal.
great gal, and we worked very hard. And John moved into a lot of people don't know this. John lived in the White House for 2 weeks, my first term. And by the end of those 2 weeks, he even had the little S
Oh, he had it
that
down.
I do. He had it down.
Now, where did he stay in the White House?
There are 16 bedrooms
Right.
in the White House on the second floor. And he was like 6 or 7 down from me. He wanted to stay in the Lincoln bedroom because he's tall and the bed there is a little longer.
Right.
But we don't. You got to pay $50,000 in donations
To get into
to get
that.
into the Lincoln.
Who collects those donations?
Who knows?
We don't even.
Not me. I'm kidding, of course. I'm kidding. I think Barbara Streisand stayed there.
Really?
Yeah, during the Clinton, during
Isn't
during
Lincoln's
Bill's term.
ghost in there?
I never went in.
You never went in. No.
Not something I wanted to do.
Not something I wanted to do.
Have you ever been to the White House?
Yes.
Have you ever been? It's cool.
I was there when Bill Clinton was in it.
Me too. No, I went there for the impeachment. Well, I was there for. I'm there for all the presidents.
They
but-
said he was upstairs. I asked where he is, and then that's really supposed to say.
See, I met with him in the Situation Room.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this way nobody knew I was there.
How big is that situation room? Not big.
Not
right? It's
on
very
TV. They make it look like this big command. Well,
Yeah.
the Situation Room is not in the bunker. The Situation Room is a small room that's just below the West Wing. It's on the main floor.
Right.
The Oval Office is on the first floor, but there's a floor below it.
Yeah.
Situation
On the
Room is
tour,
there.
you don't go to the other floors. They bring you
Yeah, well, you're in the mansion.
on
You
the
don't go
main-
into the West Wing.
right. Well,
Right.
that's just offices.
I had
right?
an Alpha Pass, which is appointment. So if you ever see the picture of me outside the West Wing with my friend, I have a red A
Yeah.
badge. That's the highest level of access. It's appointment level.
Right.
So I had a red appointment. Now, what's cool is when I went to the White House in those days, they had my driver's license, and I gave it to them, and they etched it into the back of that pass. There was an image of my driver's license. So it's a A on the front, and on the back, my ID etched into it. Very cool.
That's cool.
And
so
they
you
knew
kept
where I
that.
was.
Did you frame that?
I said, "Can I keep this?" They're like, "Don't even try to leave the grounds with it, because we'll know."
Well, now anybody could walk right in, right? You don't even need a pass.
No, it's very tight security there.
It
But
is?
I went to see. So then there's a bunker underneath, like a couple hundred feet down, and that's the
That's where the
PIOC.
president goes if there's
the
a
PIOC, Presidential Emergency Operations Center.
Right. Now, is there an exit from there into Washington, D.C. somewhere? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. There has to be multiple egresses.
Is there like, you know what is probably down there? That big golf screen
Yes.
where you hit the golf
The
ball
the
into-
golf balls down there in the movie theater. Did you ever see the movie The Hunt for October?
Yes.
Do you remember the scene where James Earl Jones, Alec Baldwin's getting out of a car
and he's meeting James Earl Jones in a building, and it's across the street from the White House.
Yeah.
And they get in an elevator, and he has a key.
Yep.
And they go down with the key, and he goes, and James Earl Jones goes, oh, I got a line on those doors. He goes, you know what they are? He goes, and James Earl Jones goes, a nearly silent propulsion system. And he goes, how did you know that? Skipper, the sub we had following Red October radioed in. Thing just disappeared right in front of him. Come on. And he takes him to the briefing, and then they're under the White House. So they have multiple buildings that surround the White House that I'm sure people that they don't want to see going into the White House go into those buildings. You have no idea if they're going to that building.
Right.
And then they go down.
They mix it all up.
They mix it all up, and then they go into the White House.
That's
And he
amazing.
goes, where are we going? A briefing for the President's National Security Advisor, Jeffrey Pelt. Most of the Joint Chiefs will be there, along with a few other people. And he goes, who's giving the briefing? You are. That was the best. You know?
Did you ever go
That was the
on
best.
that tram, or I should say the little train car that goes between the Senate and
Yes.
the House of Representatives, right?
Yep.
And it's like so cool. Like we went down there, and the guy, we go, this is amazing. I say, and the guy says, go ahead, take a ride, go to the other side. Really? He says, yeah, but you own it.
Yep.
You know, it's a government owned.
Is it, so what, did you do that after 9/11 or before 9/11?
Before.
Before.
Way before.
So it used to be public. So I always thought that was an urban myth, that there were tunnels underneath the Capitol.
Yeah.
Not only are they there, they're public. You can
Yeah.
use the tunnels.
Yeah.
I was there on official business. In my day job, I used to go to Capitol Hill. So I used to meet with people on the House Aviation and Armed Services Committees.
Yeah.
And then I do the same on the Senate side. And we took that little tram. It takes you under the Capitol, then you have to transfer to the Senate side.
Right, right.
That was really cool because it was pouring rain out when we were there. So I wanted to get to the Senate side without going outside. And the guy goes, yeah, you can use the tram. You're here on official business. So that was really cool.
It
Oh my
is
gosh.
really so neat.
We're almost at the end of the show. We have a
We
few minutes
are?
left. Yeah.
I didn't
This
even
was
plug
a great
my
show.
dates. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, March 28th, you and I are together at Theater 3 in Port Jefferson.
Yeah. So listen, if you're out there and you want to see that show in Port Jefferson, it's a small theater.
400 seats.
No, it's in the comedy club.
Oh, it's in the
downstairs.
comedy club downstairs.
Sorry to disappoint you.
90 seats. No, I like doing both.
But
Either
if
one.
anybody wants to get in, you got to get your tickets right away. 'cause
Right away.
That will sell out.
If it's in the theater downstairs, you got to get your tickets immediately.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
today, now. Go on theater3.com.
Yeah.
What's the website? Theater3.com, I think?
Just go to Theater 3.
Yeah,
and
just Google it. What do we got to tell you the website for?
They didn't really officially announce it yet, but
Well, tickets will be on sale soon. And with you and I on the show,
forget about it.
those tickets, there's only
And-
90 seats downstairs.
And Bill Clinton will be there,
Bill
and Bernie
Clinton.
Sanders will be there.
Oh, I will be there. The ticket should be free. Hey, Bernie, shut up.
And for our right-wing friends, Donald Trump may show up, make an appearance.
You never know. Theater 3 is terrific. I love Theater 3. It's the best theater. I love Theater 3. It should be Theater 1. Why don't they call it Theater 3? It should be Theater 1.
Right.
That is going to be a fun show. I love performing upstairs in the big theater. I
love
also
it.
really enjoy the downstairs.
Well, downstairs is a huge energy.
Huge energy down there because they surround you. The audience is actually surrounding the stage. What is it? It seats about 90, right at beautiful tablecloth tables. It's like a little supper club down there, Mr. Producer.
Yeah.
You would love Theater 3. They also do some very good shows there. They do. I took my wife to see the Christmas Carol, and they do a fantastic job. They have the
We
the
see
Grim
it every
Reaper.
year. Yep.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You go every year.
Yeah. Well, we went for like the last 3 years. This year, the kids didn't want to go, but
Well, I did the show. Performed at Theater 3 in the New Year's Eve show, and they still have most of the set there from Christmas Carol because it closes the night before. That year it closed the night before.
right.
So that big Grim Reaper's hanging behind the stage. It scared the shit out of me. I'm going out to do my show. I'm like, that freaking thing is right there. You know, that thing is huge.
Oh yeah, it's like a
The freaking Grim
with
Reaper
the arms that come
with
out.
the big arms and everything. But the effects.
Well, actually, it's the ghost of
all right, not the
Christmas
Grim
yet
Reaper.
to be.
The
Christmas,
future.
the ghost of Christmas yet to be.
Right, yet to be. Yeah.
Yes, I thought you said you saw this show.
I saw it, but the thing scared the hell out of me so much
It's
that I
great.
can't remember. So the I wish. Did anybody post the Clemson score?
Everybody is. There's a million.
Millions of people post the Clemson score.
I mean, this might be like one of the biggest radio audiences.
Oh, I got to do the weather.
Oh yeah, they want to hear about the weather.
I got to do the weather. You got to. I always do the weather as a different celebrity. Who should we do? Who should do the weather?
Well,
maybe we'll do Robin Leach. We did
Robin Leach.
Remember Robin Leach? Lifestyle? No.
Lifestyles are rich and famous.
Here's a list.
Can I pick?
You can pick.
I'll surprise you right now.
Here's my list of impressions.
Okay.
Somebody we didn't do in the show already today.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know who would be a lot of fun?
Tell me.
You know who I love.
Tell me.
But can he do the weather? Adam Sandler?
Sure.
He's hot right now again.
Yeah. Of course Adam could do the weather.
Let's bring him in. Is he waiting out? Bring him in.
Hello, this is Adam Sandler with the celebrity weather. Long Island, partly sunny in the morning, then changing to mostly cloudy, much cooler with highs in the mid-40s. I'm sorry, I started to sing it. East winds 5 to 10 miles per hour, gusts up to 20 mph. I thought those were supposed to be in knots. Tonight, mostly cloudy, partly sunny in the morning, then changing to mostly not sunny.
Very good. What about Tom Brokaw? He's back. I saw him on the other day give a nice.
That's true. It's Tom Brokaw from NBC News, and the water winds are 10 to 15 knots. It's funny the nautical weather has the actual knots, not the wind in miles per hour. Really should be one standard, I think. We'll have to do a whole special.
What about?
Oh, the wave. I didn't do the wave height, Rich. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tom.
5 feet. That's a lot of wave. What else did you want?
You know who I see who's out there? Invite in Michael Caine. Let's bring him in for a minute.
Hello, this is Michael Caine. I bet you didn't know that. I was in Jaws 4. I don't know if you saw that Jaws movie.
It's my favorite.
4.
4.
Right. So in Jaws 4, for those of you that don't remember, that bloody shark followed Mrs. Brody down to the Caribbean. Right? It even knew her bloody flight number, that shark. That's how smart the sharks are. And it followed her to the Caribbean. So she would look out over the water and get scared. That was a good move. They should have stopped at 3. The 3D one with Louis Gossett Jr.
You like that one the best?
Well, 2 was the best.
2.
The electrocution shark thing.
Yeah. But nothing ever gets that shark, right?
No. And then I started doing the Batman movies, and I was much happier doing the Batman.
Right. Now, can you do any of the Batman?
Of course, I'm Batman.
Very good.
Did you see The Dark Knight with Bane?
Some of these are really obscure. Britt Hume.
Good evening and welcome to Fox News. I'm Britt Hume.
It's amazing.
Who else you want me to try? I could even do Bane from The Dark Knight Returns.
Very good.
Time to go mobile.
We haven't heard from Mayor Bloomberg. He never showed up?
Let me be the first to say I'm sponsoring the radio, and I'm going to sponsor it for $10 million. That should carry the show for the next 300 years. For those of you that don't speak English, El Donationo, Cinco Emiliano. I love when he's.
You always go.
Oh, Dora the Explorer.
You always go.
For those of you that watch Dora the Explorer, El Michael Bloombergo.
Can you do any cartoon characters? My question.
Scooby Doo.
Oh, what
and
about
I would do
Shaggy?
Casey Kasem. Scoob. Where are we gonna go now, Scoob? Raggy, why you going in there? There's a roast. Come on, Scooby.
Sounds just like him. Oh my God.
It sounds just like Shaggy because it's Casey Kasem.
You are the absolute best impressionist.
I even do Jack Palance.
Jack Palance.
Jack, it's an important job. You are my number one guy.
Here's an obscure one.
Go.
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman.
Now, everybody knows his
obscure.
voice
Yes,
because
they
he does a lot of voiceovers.
I do a lot of narration.
Right.
Funny thing about these walls, First you hate them, then you get used to them, then you become dependent on them. That's institutionalized. I love that picture.
That's the best.
The best. If I'm flipping channels, I stop at Shawshank.
Shawshank Redemption, yes.
Andy must have walked into 100 post offices that day.
We're
Oh, we
wrapping
gotta
up.
wrap- we gotta
Whoa,
wrap it
well,
up.
all the characters go back into their box.
They all go back into their box. Now, next week, we got a whole new show. But I want to thank my very special
Can you do
guest,
Rich Walker?
Rich Walker. I wish I could do a Rich Walker impression, but I can't. But someday maybe I shall.
Yeah, let's hope.
But thank you so much for coming on.
You got it.
Let's plug that
It's so
Theater
much
3
fun.
show one more time. Oh, plug Stand Up University.
Oh,
We didn't even
I
talk about
teach a great comedy class now. We've been doing it for 21 years. Me, Steve Lazarus, and Peter Bales at the Brokerage Comedy Club. Go to www.standupuniversity.com.
It's way better than Trep University. It's not a scam. It's a real class.
That's
Terrific
right.
class.
Terrific class.
And we're also going to be at Theater 3 March 28th. Get those tickets quick.
Right. We'll sell out.
We will sell out. Thank you so much, Mr. Producer. Thank you all for listening to another episode of The Radio. We will see you next week.